Fans, how is your weekend going? Get your stories in the live comment section, please. Tell me how you're feeling. Who have you bantered this weekend? Not only have Manchester United won their third game in a row, but Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City have all lost in the same weekend. Talk to me about how happy you are and where we're at right now as a Manchester United fan. Talk to me a lot conservatively as well. I mean, look, there are still some doubts in there as well. Get into that. Look, we've got other things to talk about, but I wanted to start the show by just egging you into actually feeling good about what's happening at United as well right now. I want to talk about Manuel Ugarte, talking about the potential departure of the Uruguayan this January, reports on where they have come from, and Manchester United backing Rúben Amorim again, and could be as soon as January in backing him. Is there more and more confidence building with what's happening on the pitch with Rúben Amorim and his Reds right now, with the hierarchy at Manchester United ready to move all in and make something happen? How key is January going to be for Manchester United? Can United keep this form up? Obviously, that is going to be all on the squad that we've got right now. I'm going to touch on the Bryan Mbeumo story. It's been a big piece that Sully has broke out today about the importance of what happened in the summer that not a lot of Manchester United fans were on board with as such, but clearly showing yesterday that Manchester United knew what they had, knew what they wanted in terms of Bryan Mbeumo, and made it happen. An example of what is going to happen going forward with Manchester United now. And this is this story that we're talking about with Manuel Ugarte. The players that are just not good enough are going to be let go. Players that come on the pitch, and look, it's hard for any player to get to grips with the momentum of a game when you brought on as a substitute. And there's a few examples in the game yesterday. We've already talked about it. Your Kobbie Mainoo's, Ugarte's and Joshua Zirkzee's of this world. I think Manchester United are ready to move past certain players. Not Kobbie, still, he holds his own, and there is a chance that Kobbie could actually still feature for Manchester United going forward. But the likes of Manuel Ugarte now surplus to requirements makes you think back to them two stories, contrasting stories they were, in that Manuel Ugarte is one of Rúben Amorim's favourites, but then the Athletic come out and say that Manchester United's Rúben Amorim, the manager last season, went right in on Manuel Ugarte, claiming that he wasn't the same player he was at Sporting, and he has fallen off completely while joining. Well, since he left Sporting, you could say, through PSG and Manchester United. And then you get stories today about Manuel Ugarte possibly leaving Manchester United in January. This is the story that is going around at the moment today, and it's come from other sources. It's come from around again. Look, I don't care who's reporting this. I don't care where the stories come from. I don't think Manuel Ugarte will leave in January. The point of this video is that Manchester United are willing to back Rúben Amorim and see a way forward with the way that he's being. The first 11 is taking shape, and the senior 11 is right there for everybody to see right now. And you can see who Rúben Amorim believes in. He doesn't believe in Manuel Ugarte. He really doesn't, and that was proven. He started against Manchester City. We've not seen him since in terms of a starting 11 for Manchester United. He has crapped the bed a couple of times in starting big games for United, some smaller games as well. Let's not forget his role he played in the Grimsby defeat for Manchester United also. So realistically, when you look at what Ugarte has done this season, he really has disappointed, and I think he's disappointed Rúben more than ever. But again, that's by the by. It doesn't even matter what the opinion of Rúben Amorim is and where Ugarte is at the moment. We know where we're at, and there's only certain times that Manchester United can get business done and move forward. And this time now, in this spell of Rúben weaning out the players that are not good enough. Look, we're not saying Manuel Ugarte is a problem. I think he's a standout pro. I think he's brilliant in terms of what he is and his attitude, the way that he took Diego Leon under his wings well on the tour when he first arrived at the football club. He's liked by everyone at Manchester United. But the big point in this is, like I said, I don't really give a toss who is reporting that Manuel Ugarte is open to moving, and Manchester United are open to moving away in January. I don't believe that for January anyway. I'm just looking at this and I'm saying that Manchester United are actually operating again, and I went on big on this in the morning show. We now look like a football club, and players like this are now being looked at for what they are on the pitch. Not the problems off it, not the drama, the circus and everything else that comes with it, but Manuel Ugarte just not being good enough is what Manchester United need to be looking at and moving forward with the transfers and this club and the development and the recruitment. And that's where we're at right now as a football club. We need to be 100% bang on it every single window. And if there are certain players that aren't featuring for Rúben Amorim, they need to be brought into question and then a decision made upon with the so-called best in class behind the scenes. Now, I do believe that with Omar Berrada, Jason Wilcox, I was a bit sceptical about the old 2-year plan. If you're not cutting it after 2 years and then you're out of the football club, I think point has been proven already this season. And the senior players that have been at United for a while actually standing up and being counted and scared that their gravy train is going to end and their life and their perfect life at Manchester United is now over. The likes of Shaw, likes of Maguire, these other players around Manchester United that are now really performing for us and for Rúben Amorim. I think that is key, and that shows you that. But also in the players that aren't starting, that Rúben doesn't really trust in. And we can say that Rúben doesn't trust in them because he said the same thing about Casemiro. He needs to do more. He obviously needs to work harder. And this was back when he first came to the football club. 7 games in a row where Casemiro was an unused substitute. Now he's one of the first names on the team sheet. And Rúben's waxing lyrical, using Casemiro as an example. If you're not going to get to that level, then you're not going to play for Manchester United. He's brought players in specifically to do these roles that he needs in his first proper transfer window, and they are changing the face of this football club. And I said a moment ago, I was a bit sceptical about Omar Berrada and Jason Wilcox, the 2-year plan. You're not cutting it. Like I just said, the players that have been here for a while are now starting to really step up and perform and be part of Rúben's first 11. But also on top of that, you've seen the transfer window that's just gone. The likes of Andre Onana, of Rasmus Højlund, 2 years at the football club, bye-bye, gone. I think Manuel Ugarte is a prime example of where Manchester United are going to be making big changes to not just him and that area of the pitch, which we all know we need, but the way that we operate and go forward. And I think this is a building block on top of what we're actually developing right now on the pitch and under Rúben Amorim. Players that are getting it are playing more, and it's clear to see that he has now started to gain an inner circle as such, as players that he really goes to. And it's very clear who them players are. There are certain ones that got a token, well, let's just call it a pity appearance. I think it was Double A one time who called that one out and labelled that one. It was a pity appearance because Joshua Zirkzee did not deserve to be on that pitch yesterday, but he was resting out Mason Mount and wasn't rushing him back. So he got on the pitch, didn't really cover himself in much glory, didn't have much time to, but still, I think that's all that was. We're never going to see Joshua Zirkzee start a game. We're not going to see Kobbie Mainoo start a game. He was brought on in a Casemiro position, and then until Matheus Cunha was taken off, did we see Kobbie Mainoo move further forward where he's more comfortable? Kobbie's not going to play. He proved the point yesterday that he cannot play where Casemiro plays. United's shape went to crap when Kobbie Mainoo came on. No fault of his own. That's not his role. That's not his position. And there is that element of a lot of fans feeling sorry for Kobbie right now because he wasn't in his favourite position. But when he goes forward, and we've seen the best of Kobbie Mainoo in that final third, he was more effective. Ugarte was the obvious substitute. The fact that Rúben Amorim is not bringing Manuel Ugarte on when it's comfortable tells you a lot more also about Ugarte and the way that we're going to move forward here. If you are just not good enough and you're not getting into Rúben's 11, I think we're going to see now a lot of action and a lot of key decisions being made in transfer windows and the way that Manchester United's recruitment and management works now going forward. I think Manuel Ugarte's head is on the block, well and truly on the block. Honestly, right now, if you'd have said to me that Casemiro was going to extend his contract for 2 more years at a substantial decrease in wages or keep Manuel Ugarte, I would take Casemiro. I just don't think Manuel Ugarte is good enough for Manchester United. And if you are not good enough, you are going to be moved on by this football club. It's not the first time we've spoken about Ugarte and the potential of him leaving Manchester United. This is now the 3rd specific video on this subject in the last month, I think, that I have done here on Forever United TV, and I just don't see how he ever gets back into this side unless Casemiro is injured. Casemiro can play 70 minutes of any game once a week, no problem whatsoever. Ugarte, I think, is going to be replaced. I really do think that it is the end of the line for him, and I don't see him really featuring in the future for Rúben Amorim. And again, I've said this in them 2 previous videos we have done on Manuel Ugarte, in that he was the one that sold Manuel Ugarte to PSG. If he really wanted him, he would have kept hold of him. But I know they were selling Club Sporting, and you could always argue that point. But he was all too happy for him to go. Enrique was all too happy for him to go. And again, here we are. At age 23, he's already on his 3rd European club, and we're talking about him not getting into the starting lineup. Red flags flying everywhere right now. And again, I don't want to make this about Manuel Ugarte. I've got no personal agenda or issue with this guy. But I think the positive in it, where there is the negative, of course, of a player losing his place and being sold, that's just part and parcel of football. The positive is Manchester United recognising certain issues within this team that need to be rectified if they're going to move on to that next level. United now 6th in the table. I'm going to do another special video later tonight, actually. Something new that we are going to be bringing in as to people around Manchester United and teams around United and what's going on right now. Because I actually do feel like it's time we started to look at our rivals and look at what they're doing. Because Manchester United are back playing football again. And this is where it starts to get important. To be level with City ahead of Chelsea and Liverpool is huge. And more on that later on. But the important thing for Manchester United, and I've said this earlier on today as well in the morning show, is that you're nitpicking and cherry-picking certain players now to come in and fit. We have got a great core. The defence, very good. The goalkeeper, very good. The forward line, excellent at the moment. Everything else, yeah, you guessed it. The midfield, the wing-back situation, apart from Ahmad on the right, the left-hand side of the wing-back area and that midfield, that for Manchester United, if you add to that, then you are really challenging. And we have got a long future. With the players that we're looking at, I think Manchester United will be all too happy to let Manuel Ugarte go. And especially with the likes of Bruno Fernandes, in that interview that he made the other week and the video that we did on that, I think it was 2 nights ago, Bruno Fernandes saying that he wants to stay at Manchester United now and him not leaving in the summer. Ugarte, I don't think stands a chance, because Manchester United, they're going out buying midfielders, I feel, that are perfect holding midfielders for this position at Manchester United for Rúben Amorim in this system. So I don't think Ugarte stands a chance. Whether or not they see him as a squad player, I honestly don't think they do. I think they would probably be more than happy bringing in an academy player into Ugarte's position, because I still believe they're going to buy 2 midfielders. I really do think they're going to buy 2 midfielders. I don't know who it's going to be. I think there'll be one outstanding player like an Adam Wharton brought in holding midfield, and then someone like a makeweight who can play behind Bruno Fernandes or that player that we're bringing in like an Adam Wharton. I think there'll be another type of player there as well to rotate and come on and then work in. I think it will be a flexible 8-6 and then a definite 6 coming in for Manchester United. And that looks so obvious right now for us all looking at it. And that's just how I see this developing, and I have got no problem with it at all. I think this is really good for Manchester United. I think this is exciting for us as a fan base for the future, that we've actually got this setup and this system and management team in place that are noticing and identifying certain problems within this side. And with Rúben there now identifying, I think Graham sent me a great voice note earlier on, how he's seen an issue with the substitute of Kobbie Mainoo coming on, and then realising that Kobbie cannot play that role, and then Kobbie was moved further forward when Matthias Cunha was substituted off. It's a great point. And how fantastic is it that Manchester United fans are actually cottoning on to that situation happening, and we're talking about Rúben dealing with an issue on the pitch football-wise rather than an issue off the pitch. I'm going to keep on driving this point home every single chance I can get it, because this is just a complete breath of fresh air for Manchester United to be talking this way and talking about Manchester United on the pitch and what we can do and how we can improve that way. And the circus talk is over. And yes, I've still not had a call to go on Sky yet. So we'll see what happens in the morning. They're going to miss out. But I did say this was coming, didn't I? Everyone wants Manchester United to fail. And ultimately, this is not good for anybody. Everyone hates us. We said it in the thumbnail of the match review after the game. yesterday outside Old Trafford. Everyone hates us. They love to hate Manchester United. They really do. Anyway, let's get into your comments on that opening section there and the way that Manchester United are moving forward. The Manuel Ugarte situation, the whole midfield dynamic for Manchester United. You can actually see potential so much in this side if Manchester United go and invest the right way. I'm telling you right now, if you put an Adam Wharton in there in that midfield, whoa, yes, please get someone of that quality in there. And look, I am not saying that Casemiro cannot do a job for United. I love the guy, and he sent Baleba to the bench, like I said yesterday. We forced Fabian Hürzeler to make a triple change just before the hour mark, which told you we were dominating that game. He likes to have more control than what he was getting there yesterday, and he had to change everything up to try and get himself in. It was a Hail Mary. Bringing off key players like he did was key, and it showed where Manchester United were yesterday. Right, let's get into them comments. First of all, super chat in from Ben Horton. Nice. Farnster, I think that is. Or is that just someone else using that same picture that Farnster uses? Look, honestly, anyone who's using Matthias Cunha as their screensaver right now or their profile picture, I ain't got an issue with you. I love the guy. I think he's an absolute legend. Did you actually see the interview and how humble and how proud he was of himself to get his first goal and play with the match? Just to see the pictures and what he was like on social media after that game. I love Matthias Cunha. Honestly, he is an absolute ledge. He really is. I love him. Ugarte is done, says Ben. No. What does he offer other than fouls? Look, Ugarte is a headless chicken for me, and I think I've been talking about this for a while. He needs to be out of the side. And there are better players than him in the current squad for Manchester United. So he doesn't ever, for me, start a game for Manchester United. And this starting 11 is developing now. Rúben won't change players that are giving him the maximum. The only time Rúben will change anything is if he feels that that player's got a knock, like Mason Mount and Harry Maguire. He said in his press conference they were minor and we just need to double check, and they didn't get anywhere near the pitch. He's not going to take a risk with injured players or players that might have a knock. He's giving everybody the right amount of recovery time. And I think that's good in a way. And I think that Manchester United can feel, as a fan base, we can feel safe in the future that we're not going to be rushing any players back now for the sake of it. That happened plenty of times before. So I'm happy with that side of things as well on that. But again, I don't see Casemiro struggling. I really don't. And I think he's going to be more than available. He's enjoying his football and he is one of our best players at the moment. And you can't deny that. He is absolutely brilliant. And I'm so glad that he's coming to form. And the rest of this team is feeding off what Rúben is saying now and really believing in what's happening. That we can actually get through a little bit more time and get to the point when we get the midfielder that we really need. Maybe we could stretch this out with what we've got in the academy and what we've got already in our squad till the end of the season. Look, I know we still need to bring in a midfielder, and Manchester United will go out and get a midfielder if they can this January. I think that is very, very clear from all of the reports. Conor Gallagher is still being talked about, like we spoke about last week, within the loan market, and is a definite target for Manchester United going forward. So don't be surprised if you see Manchester United make a move for Conor Gallagher. I think them extra legs for Manchester United overall would be better. Even if Casemiro starts the game and Conor Gallagher comes on, and then when we start to get back-to-back games around December, well, not around December, but obviously when January hits, and we are losing maybe Bruno going forward into a more advanced role because we're missing Mbeumo, you might see someone like Conor Gallagher step in, like next to Kobbie Mainoo. Look, there's a few different ways to look at it, but just to break it completely down there, that Manchester United will be looking for another midfielder if they can get him in the loan market in January anyway. If Ugarte said he's on the block, then so is Mainoo's. We've already said that, Andrew. Already said that, mate, and you are dead right. I just don't think he's on the block for January. To be honest, like I said, with Ugarte, I don't think his head is on the block for January either. I just don't see United having anyone lined up to replace Ugarte in January. And the story really is irrelevant in terms of the timescale of things. But I think the overall story is bang on the money. And Manchester United looking to not just back Rúben Amorim with players that are coming in, but taking away players that he's not using. This is what a football structure does. If you've got an understanding between your director of football, head of recruitments, CEO, and they're in dialect with the manager constantly, week in, week out, day after day, then you know that that manager isn't keen on a certain player. They're already working on a deal to move that guy on. Whereas before, we had Laurel and Hardy running the show behind the scenes for Manchester United in directors' roles that they didn't really qualify for. And therefore, Manchester United were just allowing players to stay. And I'm telling you right now, the fact that you've seen Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, and all these older players step up to the mark is that they know that change is there at Manchester United now. And going forward, you're not going to be able to just linger around anymore. You're going to be sent packing. So Jim Ratcliffe's not going to have players sat there doing nothing on pointless wages that could go elsewhere, that could be invested into younger players. He is going to run this ship very, very tightly. And if you are not featuring, and I've taken this back from a comment that was made by Sir Jim Ratcliffe in another one of his interviews of the many we've seen so far since he's come into Manchester United, and that if you are not playing, then you are not at the club. We will pay the right wages to the players that are consistently giving more. And I think the fact that Garnacho, Rashford, Rasmus, Onana, players like this, Antony, all of these players now being moved on, shown the rest of this squad that they're not going to be running the asylum anymore. They're going to be put in line and they're going to be dealt with. And if Rúben's not using you, he's got a full structure right behind him that's going to step in and say, we're moving him on. You're not using him. We're moving him on. Obviously, there will be a to and fro with conversations and negotiations between manager and director of football and whatnot, but still, like, he will be talking to them constantly. I just don't think that that relationship was there before. And you could say that that probably was the downfall of Ten Hag as well, but I don't think Ten Hag had the bottle like Rúben has had and shown so far to stand up to what's happening. And we have called it. I have called it. I have doubted Rúben. I've not hid away from that. I wanted him to succeed. I really did want him to succeed. I don't want to sack him, but I seen the inevitable coming. He clicked. It was that moment after Brentford when Rúben went, I'm changing it. And he changed it instantly. Changed it against Sunderland. Did the same against Liverpool. Adapted it against Brighton. And now we're 3 games in a row into the European places comfortably right now. And that is hard to argue against. And that's what Rúben's got with him right now. And he's got a squad that believes. He's now got a structure that believes. And this is why we're getting stories like this about moving players on, because they believe in what he's doing. If they back him in a way and getting rid of players that he can't use and replacing them with the right type of players, then you're going to get an even better result for Manchester United and an even more productive Rúben Amorim squad going forward. Let's not forget how much work he did in his first 2 years at Sporting to turn that club around. We are almost at 1 year now. In a few weeks, we hit year 1 for Rúben Amorim. And look where we are. 1 year on, Manchester United are challenging for the Champions League places a quarter into the season, having had an absolute disaster the season before because we believed in him and Ineos gave him that time and then backed him in getting rid of the right players in the summer and bringing in the right players now. We do that again and we keep repeating that process. You're going to run out of really, really bad players to actually get rid of, and eventually you're just going to be getting better players and having a better squad depth. And that, I think, is the overall vision for Manchester United right now. And I do believe, and it's not just because we're winning games, and I've always backed what's going on with the structure behind the scenes at Manchester United. 100% been behind it, and I know we've got the right people in place. I have waxed lyrical about the likes of Christopher Vivell, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, and everything that's going on there. These are guys that have been there, done it, and worn the T-shirt and been successful with medals in what they have done. They're just going to continue that at Manchester United, and they've got an owner that knows what they're all about and what they need to operate. I just feel like Manchester United now are just going in that direction where eventually we won't have to spend as much each summer, and we'll just have a continuous conveyor belt of players coming through the academy, players that really are the right signings, and then you're only having to buy 1 or 2 players each summer to improve your squad. It's all about the full package. The academy feeding the first team, therefore not needing to buy as much. And that leads me into the next topic, actually. And so many people actually online right now and people in and around Manchester United talking about Shea Lacey. I fully believe right now, from what I have been told and what I'm reading and what's being said, that Shea Lacey will be the man stepping up, kid stepping up, whatever you want to call him, at the age he is. My God, 19, seriously. You're looking at that, and he is the replacement for Bryan Mbeumo. That is what I fully believe in right now. I think that that's where this is going. I do. Look, I've gone on for a long, long time there. Sorry, everybody. I want to get your comments in on this as well. There's lots of people having their opinions on this. Graham's in with another super chat. Legend. Thank you, Graham. A certain YouTuber wants to see a vision, wants to see the vision. A lot of it was on view yesterday. A vision that you cannot see. I question what you're watching, and your agenda and narrative as to what you want to happen isn't the one that most of this Manchester United fan base wants and were watching yesterday. I agree completely with Graham on this one. That forever and a day we have been talking up Mbeumo and Amad. It started in our second home game of the season when we had him and Amad and Mbeumo, that is, terrorising the back line of Burnley. We just didn't put our chances away. We then seen it again in the next home game, which was against, well, it wasn't so much the next home game, but again, Bryan Mbeumo making moves against Chelsea, but then Sunderland, Amad and Mbeumo again down that right-hand side. It is frightening. Absolutely frightening. The fact that we have got a combination of Yoro, Amad and Mbeumo, and Rúben Amorim talking about this in his press conference about how lethal they are together. Mbeumo is a monster. Amad is perfect for this position. I remember people laughing at me last season when I did a separate video, and you can go back into it, that Man United were not going to go out and buy a right wing back in the summer because Rúben had Amad earmarked for that position. I did the video. You can go back and check it. And everyone was saying, not a chance, Adam. Why are you even saying this? Round peg, square holes. People were quoting me on my favourite phrase and what I always say, which is the round peg, square hole thing. But I didn't see it. I understood what he was doing with this. And I understood it even more when you started to bring Bryan Mbeumo into the equation. And when I knew that we were going for Mbeumo, my eyes lit up. I remember, and you all remember where I was. I was in Lanzarote. I was on a harbour. And David Ornstein broke that news. There's your vision right there. And that's what you're looking at. You've got a right wing back in Amad who can go forward and get back and alternate. And he's also got now a player as disciplined and as brilliant as Bryan Mbeumo is next to Amad. Amad is going to flourish next to this guy on that side. And the combination and understanding between them two is going to take Manchester United light years away from where we was last season. It really is. And that, I feel, is one thing that you can see already. And to add to another vision, you can look at that back line with Senna Lamens, the communication, the organisation. Even when Brighton got an early free kick after Anthony Taylor gave a ridiculous call and gave an easy free kick to Brighton about 25 yards out, United defended it. Lamens claims it. Lamens punched it. The defenders know exactly where they need to be. All of a sudden, as a Man United fan, I'm not concerned anymore about free kicks and dead balls and set pieces. It doesn't matter because we can defend them as normal now. I mean, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be worried about set pieces right now. Definitely. But, hey, look, that's another problem. I'll be talking about that later on. And don't forget, everybody, I'm going to be doing a special video again later on tonight. More content for you here on Forever United TV. It's about time we started looking at our rivals and dissecting what is coming for Manchester United this season. And that is coming later on. And you will enjoy this as well because it is a little bit of a jab about a certain noisy neighbour as well. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. A great weekend for Manchester United it was, wasn't it? Anyway, and moving on, let's get some more comments in here as well. Hopefully Martinez can stay fit. We'll need him over Christmas and New Year. It's good points. Squad depth is key for Manchester United and taking advantage of everyone else being in Europe. And obviously the Champions League, Europa League and Conference League with teams around us like Crystal Palace, Arsenal, City, Tottenham, Newcastle. All of these teams challenging us. Villa even, to that matter. Now we've come right up behind us in the league table. All in Europe. Man United not. Having a fully fit squad right now is going to really be beneficial for Manchester United going forward. So, boom. Yes, indeed. Dalot is being carried under celebrations of his wins. He has to be replaced. That from Fred. I don't think there's many people that would disagree with you, mate. It's hard to talk negative when you've won a game like you have and you're on a run that you're on, but you can pick out certain little issues within the side. Dalot is one of them. Bruno won't play in the 10. I keep saying it. He will have like 5 10s. Even if Mbumo goes to AFCON, Bruno will play 8. Still, Manu isn't getting any game time under Amorim, says Cal. Again, let's see now. Great weekend of football for us, says Sean. I feel there's a real positive vibe around the club now, and now from top to the squad. Good times ahead. The structure is coming to fruition. Just feels like the old. Just feels like of oldish. Oldish? I mean, oldest days. Was that supposed to say? Sometimes YouTube doesn't let you finish off your actual paragraph. Or you get away from me, fly. Sod it. Ass. Anyway, let's see what else we've got in the comment section here. Pile in, please, everybody. I've said enough there on my bit. Let's get your thoughts on this. Why people think Martinez can play in midfield is beyond me. He is also injury-prone, missing over 100 games at United. It's mind-boggling. He needs to be sold for as much as we can get. Would you say Luke Shaw falls into that category, Dodo? Whistlepipe? I mean, I get what you're saying. If, for instance, Martinez was fit from now until the end of the season, would you want to sell him then? That changes things. Let's not forget, also, like, he is entering into the last 2 years of his contract. He's already done 3 years. This is his 4th year now, Lisandro Martinez. And he'll have 1 year left at the end of this year. So expect talk of Lisandro Martinez renewing contracts or being moved on. I personally think it will go down the road of renegotiation of a new contract, but we'll see, won't we? We will see. Graham says again with another super chat. Again, someone is putting it out there that Casemiro is off in the summer with doubts on the future of Bruno, Kobe and Manuel. Is this premature? I don't think it's premature. I think maybe now that Bruno has spoken, it may look like Bruno isn't going anywhere, and he's probably the most likely out of all of the names Graham's just mentioned there to be still at the football club. If Casemiro keeps on this form and then says, I'm okay to take a massive pay cut, do we keep Casemiro? And look, I've always said that there's got to be someone out there that can do the job that Casemiro is doing right now that's younger and better than him. He can't play forever, but if Manchester United get into Europe, I expect talks of both Maguire and Casemiro to continue and United to buy on top of them players. Potentially. I would still move Casemiro on and say thank you. I don't want Casemiro signing a contract that's going to take him to 35. I think that might be pushing it a little bit. And there is definite other talent out there in that position, I feel, anyway, that Manchester United need to be tapping into. So I'm not as concerned about Casemiro. Look, I can see why United might want to keep Harry Maguire for another couple of years on a very low deal, because it might save them money needing to buy a centre-back and go all out and get the exact midfielder to replace Casemiro. And don't forget, like, with Casemiro's wages off the books, some near 25 million quid a year, 25 million a year, whatever it is, then United have got a lot of room there to go with the transfer fees they're already collecting. Like we've said, with the Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Højlund, all of that money coming in the summer, then you have got a chance there to go out, first and foremost, get the one player you need. And then you look, I feel, at left wing-back. Whether Dorgu is going to be the right thing or not, we will see. At the moment, it doesn't look like Rúben fully trusts him because he's got Dalot there. I don't trust Dalot. And if there was a better left wing-back out there, I think Dalot would be the one that goes. But again, we're waiting to see what Rúben does and how he calls it in the summer on that left-hand side. Midfielder, first and foremost, and number 6 is key for Manchester United's summer. It really is. And then you need a versatile 8/6 alongside him as a minimum spend, and players being brought in this summer. That is it. There's no way you can look past that for Manchester United. That has to happen. 2 midfielders at a push. And that a push means getting a third in right now for United. And whether that means Kobbie Mainoo's time is up, Casemiro's, Ugarte's, I don't care. I just want Manchester United to be looking ahead, forward thinking, and getting the players in that are going to make this team better. Why the sudden change of view on Amorim now, Adam? I've not changed it, Dominic. You've been calling for him to be sacked 4 games ago. Stop being so reactive because you'll look a fool. I don't look a fool. I know what I said. I know that you're lying and you're a bit of a numpty because you've clearly not listened to the show that much. But I do like to bring in some of the negative comments as well to balance it out. Please do go watch the shows back and then come back again with a relevant comment. You're always welcome, my friend. Thank you, Dominic, for your comments. The understanding developing between Cunha and Mbeumo already is canny. Can't wait for Mount and Sesko to join them. Look, I think they're almost there. The understanding between Cunha and Mbeumo, I don't think it's even in question here. I think we're looking at that naturally being there anyway. And on top of that, like I just said, Mbeumo and Ahmad, I feel, is 100% the best thing happening at Manchester United right now. That right-hand side is unstoppable. And Brighton struggled just as much as Liverpool did, just as much as Sunderland did in them games. And Manchester United, I feel right now, are in an absolutely brilliant position with them. Keep them 2 fit. For God's sake, please stay fit. And we are going to go forward. 100%. Even if Casemiro and Bruno stayed, they're both 30 odd. We still need 2 central midfielders of 3 regardless. I think I did just say that one there, actually. Jay's in the house as well. Welcome, Jay. If Martinez doesn't replicate his form from 2 years ago, I would sell. Do you agree with Jay in the chat, everybody? Would you sell Martinez? I wish Amorim hadn't made them substitutes yesterday at the time. He did. I think he gave the players the impression that the game was won. That explains the drop-off to me and why we conceded them goals. I think he thought we were 3-0 up and the game was over. I do think that. And that's why Xerxes came on instead of Mount. And he had the perfect opportunity to rest Mount as a precaution because he was concerned about him from what he said in the press conference, that knock that he picked up. And that, I think, is definitely why we've seen the likes of Xerxes and Mainoo come on. I just don't think they're ever going to catch up and get up to speed with what's necessary because we haven't got enough games to rotate, and I don't think either of them in their certain positions are anywhere near where that magical starting 11 that we were just talking about that Ruben's got. Well over 200 votes. 200 likes in the bag already, everybody. Keep them likes coming in, please, everyone. And do make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. You can see that as well. Also, the Match Bingo QR code is on your screen. If you scan that, then you can download the Match Bingo app. You can create your free account. When depositing your money into your account, if you put in the promo code FUTV, all capitals, then you will be boosted by 100% on that deposit amount, no matter how much it is. So get in there now and get depositing. Play the game with us. It's been a great weekend for Manchester United, and I'm sure we've had plenty of winners on Match Bingo also. Continue it, everybody. The games are on this week also. I think it's Carabao Cup week this week, actually, isn't it? So a week off from Europe, which is good. A bit of a break, but yeah, still plenty of action going on Match Bingo as well, everybody. So get into that also. Thank you for that super sticker, Tom. I love that, matey. Let's see what else we've got in here. We also dropped that link to Match Bingo into the chat, everybody. New range is out also on OK Jerseys for all of your replicas and special edition kits. Also, everybody, now on OK Jerseys. That will be the other QR code that pops up in a moment. And the link is also in the description as well for anybody. Grab your replica kits now. Absolute top-notch quality. With Christmas coming up, the perfect time to buy. And again, like I said before, the top of the show, we have got more content coming out later on. I will be touching on the freedom fighter, Jadon Sancho, and City as well. Manchester United being level with Man City. I mean, come on. Like, who'd have thought that after a quarter of the season played? That's going to be coming up later. A rival's view on Manchester City is coming up here on the channel in a special video later on this evening, everybody. So make sure that you go and watch that also. Right, more comments coming in, everybody. Adam, as I've said before, if we were to hypothetically sign Wharton and Anderson, would Xerxes and Manu ever get games? No, is my answer. And that says it all. Yep, I get what you're saying. I do 100% get that. Cal says, I still think Bruno Maguire, Shaw and Dalot all need to go, along with Ugarte, Xerxes, Manu, Leach, Casemiro. We still need a big squad overhaul, really. In time, I think that squad overhaul will come. I do. I think Manchester United will be in the right position to overhaul that squad as well, with the way that they are willing to back Rúben Amorim. So, yeah, I think that United will make these calls going forward. I just don't think Ineos are for playing around with this. And just because we won a few games, they're looking at this squad as the next thing since next best thing since sliced bread. I think they still have a list of players that they know they want to move on. They'll see their list, they'll see their wage bill, they'll see the players that have had consistent games for Manchester United, and they will be making the right calls and decisions no matter what's going on the pitch. And Rúben will be aware of this and know that the club needs to survive. And if he needs to be backed and players brought in, like Carl said, there is still a very, very big overhaul that's necessary at Manchester United. And I think Ineos are the ones that are going to get us through that phase that we've been calling for so many years. They are going to make the cuts that are necessary. They've got the calls. They've got the balls to make the calls, as it says, as we say before. It is. Quickly, on the Bryan Mbeumo story, and just all of this talk of players like Jadon Sancho, for God's sake, man. Subbed on, subbed off. Like, seriously? Freedom, my arse, mate. Yeah, I know what freedom is. And it's a player at a football club playing the way that he should be playing because he's putting the right amount of effort in. And he's willing to work for that. Not being given it because you think you are bleeding God's gift to a football team, and that's what Jadon Sancho is. And there's a great story from Sully that's out at the moment regarding the Bryan Mbeumo situation. If you haven't read it already, I'll just run through some bits of this, and it is really interesting. I'll just read through a little bit of it now. The second bid for Bryan Mbeumo came through at the end of the week of June 25th, which reached Brentford's asking price. This agreement didn't end up officially occurring until 20 days later. And so Manchester United met the Bryan Mbeumo bid. So I'm just backing up what Man United were doing here. Like I said in the summer, something wasn't right, and Manchester United were going all out for Bryan Mbeumo. So when they met the price, this price didn't end up officially occurring until 20 days later. And Mbeumo and his representatives were scheduled to come into Carrington on the 28th of June for his medical and contract signing. However, this ended up getting cancelled. The club doctor, along with the medical staff, had plans to conduct a medical in two parts, with the first part taking place in a private hospital near Cheshire due to the renovation of Carrington, with the second part being done in Carrington itself. The contract signing was also planned to take part the next day, with the deal being so advanced that the head chef was told to prepare lunch for the players and represent the player and his representatives. The source reveals the deal was 95% done at that point. So Mbeumo and his camp were, of course, very frustrated when it got cancelled. Club sources tell us that Brentford were being very unreasonable during this whole transfer saga and were constantly changing goalposts when it came to the price. Again, it was crazy. We can reveal that the Director of Football Negotiations, Matt Hargreaves, held face-to-face meetings with Brentford Sporting Director. In one meeting, they were asking for a total fee of 80 million. All of this story, just read through it. There's bits of this all the way along. How Manchester United agreed what Brentford wanted, and then a few days later, they came back to Manchester United, having agreed a price, and then brought it back again. Manchester United had to go through a lot to get hold of Bryan Mbeumo in the summer, but they got him. And now we're talking about Bryan Mbeumo, 5 goals into his Manchester United career, quarter of the way through the season. If he can get anything over 20 goals this season, then we know we've paid the right price for Bryan Mbeumo. Man United were always the winners in that saga for Bryan Mbeumo and that transfer. It was never in doubt. Manchester United always felt confident they would get him because Bryan Mbeumo wanted to be a Red. And now we're getting the rewards from that persistence. And this is how hard it is to get the right players. Manchester United spent months, weeks, months, whatever it was, to get Bryan Mbeumo, and everyone was on them, bitching and moaning about why it's not been done yet. But look at what that effort brings you. And look at that persistence now paying off for Manchester United in Bryan Mbeumo on the pitch and the numbers that this man is actually putting out. It's brilliant to see that Manchester United are picking and hand-picking the right types of players for this football club. And that goes the other way. Hand-picking and looking at the players that are not going to actually feature in the future for Manchester United and making them crucial, important calls in letting them players go. And this is what Manchester United never did. This is where Manchester United are now, and it is good to see. And of course, I'm never going to forget that all of this sounds so much better and easier to talk about because Man United are actually winning. And it's always easier when United are winning. But what have I always banged on about constantly? I said it and I keep on saying it. No one will talk about anything else on Manchester United if we are winning games. They hate it. Which is why we did the thumbnail we did yesterday. You hate us again. Basically, that is where it's at. Manchester United have got that hate factor back. They don't want to talk about us anymore because we're not crap anymore. We're actually winning games and are right up there. And that's why I'm going to do this separate video tonight and just to pinpoint where United are at. So just a separate quick video. Really appreciate all of you people and subscribers watching the video later on and giving your thoughts on this. And I've kept it separate to this live show. So I wanted to make sure that it was clear what I was talking about and it not getting drowned out in a long live show. The live shows continue and they always will. And I love all of your contributions into the live shows and everything that we do. And that is always going to be there. And that's going to be our staple, let's just say. But we are moving on to other content as well now. We need to expand and we need to do more. And this moves along with how Manchester United are actually performing and what we're actually doing right now. And that's the important thing to remember. It's always going to be the honest reality and the truth on this channel and what we talk about. And that's why everybody comes back. We say it as it is. We cannot argue with 3 wins in a row. The fact that them wins have all come against teams in and around us as well, like that is even more important for Manchester United. And we have definitely crossed over that bridge now, I think, with Rúben Amorim, and we're at that point. No one's talking about how many points he's got in a certain amount of games. No one's talking about that he's not won 2 games in a row. We've now smashed that and gone 3 games in a row. We've beaten Liverpool, we've beaten Brighton. That was 4 and 9 years since we've won them particular games as well. Man United, 4 wins in a row. The last time Manchester United were 2-0 up in a game at half-time at Old Trafford 3 times in a row was 2008. And I'm sure you all remembered what happened that year. I'm not saying United are going to go and win the Champions League and the Premier League. Not far from it. We can't anyway. But you get what I'm talking about. We are here. We are here. That is it, everyone. And we are competing. And that's the most important thing. And that is our video tonight, everyone. Thank you so much. The live show is finished. I will be back on with the other video, which is coming up a little bit later. So make sure that you tune in and give me your thoughts on that. I will catch up with you all in a bit. And then I will see you live again in the morning. First thing, Monday morning. Enjoy your evening, everybody. It has been a very, very good weekend for Manchester United. And I think we can hold our heads up high and say that we are officially back in the competing circle again. And let's just continue this now going forward this week. And let's keep this positive vibe going. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you all of the new subscribers and people in that live chat as well. And mods for helping out in there. Also, get your thoughts in the comments section. Like the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Get your Match Bingo tickets on screen now, everybody, for the big games coming up this week. All of the links are in the description for all of our other partners like OK Jerseys. Get in there. I'll see you all later on. Have a good one, people.